It was supposed to be a simple summer ritual, me, my wife, our kids, and a backyard grill. Instead, our peaceful neighborhood turned into a legal battleground over a hose, a destroyed grill, and one neighbor's extreme beliefs. What started with a lasagna welcome gift exploded into lawsuits, probation, and even a federal case. This is the story of how we defended our home, stood up for our family, and turned a hostile act into a triumph of community and the law. It started with a lasagna. When Hannah Miller moved in next door, my wife Rachel and I did what any good neighbors would do. We showed up with a homemade dish and a bottle of red wine. It was the kind of thing people do in suburban Minnesota. Low-key, thoughtful, no agenda. Hannah opened the door, took one look at the lasagna and frowned. "Does this have meat in it?" she asked. "Yes," Rachel said, smiling beef. "It's our family recipe." "I'm a strict vegetarian." "I don't allow meat in my home," she replied. "Not. I don't eat meat, not. Thank you anyway." Just a flat rejection, like we'd violated some unspoken code. It was awkward, but we apologized and left, chalking it up to nerves or dietary sensitivity. We figured it was a one-time thing. It wasn't. Over the next few weeks, we noticed Hannah watching us. Not casually. Not like a neighbor. Like an auditor. Each time I fired up the grill, I'd catch her staring from her window. Sometimes, she'd step onto her back patio and fold her arms silently, disapproving. I ignored it. Minnesota summers are short, and our family BBQs are sacred. My kids, Emma and Liam, love helping with the setup, and our neighbors know we go all out: burgers, ribs, veggie skewers, cornbread, homemade lemonade. We even added more vegetarian dishes this year, partly as an olive branch. Hannah didn't respond to the invitation. Then came the Saturday that changed everything. It was our biggest BBQ of the summer. The weather was perfect, the turnout was high, and I was in the zone behind my Weber Genesis. I had just stepped inside to grab more buns. I was gone for maybe 2 minutes. When I came back out, my backyard looked like a crime scene. Water everywhere. The grill soaked. The ignition unit fried. Ceramic briquettes cracked and steaming. The food ruined. My kids crying. Guests shocked. And standing in the middle of it all was Hannah, hose in hand, face defiant. "You don't get to poison the air and call it a party," she said. "You're glorifying violence." I didn't say a word. Not yet. I looked at my kids, at my guests, at the wreckage. Then I called the police. She didn't run. She stood her ground, insisting that her actions were justified, that grilling meat in her line of sight was an act of aggression, that she'd left warnings. We never got any. Later, Bob, our mailman neighbor, confirmed she'd been slipping them into our mailbox illegally. When the officers arrived, she admitted everything. "I was acting out of moral necessity," she said, proud. "Ma'am," the officer replied, "you committed criminal property damage." She was arrested on the spot. The next day, I called Mark, my brother-in-law, and a damn good civil attorney. We filed a lawsuit seeking compensation for the grill, ruined food, emotional distress for my children, and harassment. Things escalated from there. Hannah hired a lawyer who tried to spin her beliefs into a legal defense, arguing that her vegetarianism was a form of moral or quasi-religious conviction protected by law. But the court wasn't buying it. Belief, the judge said, is not a license to destroy someone else's property. She was found guilty of criminal property damage. Sentenced to 30 days in jail, suspended. Fined $1,000. Ordered to attend anger management. But that wasn't the end of it. During discovery in the civil suit, Mark uncovered Hannah's online activity. Posts in extreme vegan forums. Detailed messages describing her operation. She had written about her plan to disable the Peterson Grill, how she was ready to take direct action against the meat cult, and even asked for tips on how to sabotage with maximum moral impact. It was chilling, and it blew her defense apart. She settled. She paid $1,200 for the new grill, $500 for the food, $2,000 for emotional distress. and we secured a court-ordered restraining order she couldn't come within 50 feet of our property during any BBQs. 2 months later, she moved out. No apology, no farewell. Just a moving truck and silence. As it pulled away, I stood on my deck and fired up my brand new grill. Same model, same sizzle. Paid for by the woman who tried to extinguish our summer joy. We thought that was the end. Months later, we started getting letters again. No return address, animal rights slogans, strange Bible quotes, even veiled threats. Then came the website. A full-blown smear campaign using our names and photos, calling us the meat murderers of Minnesota, accusing us of child abuse and environmental terrorism. She'd moved to California, but she hadn't let go. We didn't hesitate. Mark helped us file a federal lawsuit for harassment, defamation, and violation of the restraining order. Because she crossed state lines and used interstate communication to target us, it became a federal case. The FBI got involved. The courtroom was packed. The jury took less than 2 hours. She was convicted of cyberstalking, defamation, and violating a restraining order. Sentenced to real time behind bars. That finally ended it. Today, we still host our BBQs. We've added more diverse dishes, not out of fear, but because we genuinely want everyone to feel welcome. The grill stands tall, a symbol not of conflict but resilience. The kids are happy again, the neighbors closer than ever. And me, I learned that kindness has limits. That tolerance doesn't mean letting someone bulldoze your boundaries. That you can stand up without shouting, fight back, without throwing punches, and win with dignity, law, and community. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to stay calm when someone comes at you with chaos. But if you hold your ground and you know your rights, you don't need to meet fire with fire. Sometimes all you need is a new grill.